Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast. I am proud to say with Mike and Laurent, it is Monday, November 14th. In this episode, we will review the last round of fixtures until Boxing Day. We'll check in on the Ronaldo saga because he's an asshole. But first, Mike, you're back.
I'm back.
I need a full rundown. Where have you been?
Yeah.
How are you doing? We want to hear about the bants, about where you are, and then
I was on Epstein's Island for 6 weeks.
Nice.
It was pretty nice. A lot of kids, a lot of politicians. Anyway, no, I have had a child of my own. I didn't birth it, despite the fact that men can give birth. Did you know that?
Yeah, men can give birth, right?
Yeah,
you're a birthing person.
That's correct. I kept telling my wife, "You're not that special. Like I could do this too." But we had a beautiful baby girl, Abigail Catherine. She is screaming her head off in the other room right now. But we are so blessed. Unfortunately, she looks like me, which is tough. You can tell. I mean, like I look even fatter in the face than usual.
Yes.
When she's pissed off, she looks like me. When she's not, thankfully, she looks like her beautiful mother. So she is healthy. Thank you, everybody, for reaching out. I heard from a bunch of folks. I am wobbly. I am tired. I have been watching the football. I am excited for the World Cup, and I do need
a state of Spurs, and then I'll do the Spurs.
I don't know. I don't understand. I don't have any way to characterize this other than they're really, really bad. Yeah. With a few terrific players. Yeah. Obviously, Dejan Kulusevski coming back into the fold is tremendous.
He's good,
and having him be at full strength. Wow, he's unbelievable. His mate from Juventus, as we like to say, Rodrigo Bentancur, clearly far and away the player of the season for us. I've texted you separately a few times. He is our Gundogan. Like he's that player for us. He's unbelievable. Kane does Kane things. He's great as well. But it's been a war of attrition with injuries. But many times over the course of the last 2 months or so, I have watched games where, you've got the 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, depending on the type of possession you've got. But what will happen is, and I've sent screenshots of this to you, where you've got 3 defenders, you've got 3 attackers on the other side of the television, and you've got basically 8 or 9 defending players, opposition players, in the middle of those 2 things. And everybody's like, how the fuck are we going to do this? And because you're not going to do it, right? Like for whatever reason, you have Højbjerg, you have Bentancur, you have
my friend Basuma,
who bossed the game against Liverpool a few weeks ago. He was great. But yet there's no way to get through this line somehow. The obsession with going around and over is bad. And it stinks. And I frankly am tired of Conte's shit.
This is what we needed. The show has been missing your anger at Conte that you've been brewing and sending to me in between poopies.
Between changing diapers. My diapers. It's, if you were to give Mourinho, I won't say Nuno because that's a bridge too far, or Pochettino, Bentancur, Kulusevski, Basuma, and Christian Romero, gosh, 29 points from 15 games looks like a bad start.
Here's Tottenham. The thing that I think about. Eric Dyer needed to be replaced 5 seasons ago.
Sure.
Absolutely. And he still has to play.
And by the way, I still love him, but...
it's not that you don't love him, but the fact that he's still trying to anchor that defense. He's moved from the middle to the right. When he's on the right, he's making more mistakes because I think he's probably playing too much where he's just like, I can't.
I don't want to segue into World Cup stuff too quickly, but if he plays against the Americans, we have a fucking chance. But no, you're right. He needed to go years ago, or at least just not start regularly.
Or in the right setup. Like he should be in the middle of a 3 when the 3 is good. But when the 3 is bad, he should not be one of those 3.
Clement Longley, I get it now. I understand Barcelona.
Yeah, he
moves
stinks
like an aircraft carrier.
Who flew by him in one of those games?
I don't even know. So many players.
But it was really bad.
It was
right
like a
past
guy
him.
was standing still. It was Bournemouth, I think. It was like Sri Lanka or something like that. Like, what are you doing?
Anyway,
So the
I'm glad
club
that
is
we're getting
half really
a
good.
great state of Spurs. This is
They're
fantastic.
half really good and half terrible with what feels like a world-class coach who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like,
Well,
and
the narrative for Spurs from the outside is don't watch them until the second half. And then in the second half, you get these crazy games. You had the crazy Bournemouth game. You just had a crazy game
games,
versus
multiple
Leeds.
Champions League games.
Yeah, just a lot of crazy games.
Yeah.
But let's go through the scores, and then we'll sleep back around into Leeds. But I'm ready to do it because you're back, and I can do my scores.
All right, let's see the scores.
We go. Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 2, Brentford 2. Oh, I died inside. This was the worst performance City has played all year. And Brentford were the Brentford that we like. Shithousing, football playing, punch you in the face, smash, schmouth, Brentford. This was a Bill Parcells Brentford performance. Fantastic work. My friends from Nottingham Forest, I've been saying it, Steve Cooper would get this team together. He made it to the break, and he gets himself off the bottom. Wow. They defeat Palace 1-0. Our friends from West Ham, Mr. Moyes does not know how to play with new toys. He can only play when his team stinks. He can only use toys that are wooden, and he can pull with a string. They lose to Leicester. And the other side of that, Rodgers' renaissance continues as Leicester are now getting clean sheets because Feist is incredible and their goalkeeper no longer sucks. Bournemouth 3, Everton 0. That's Frank Lampard right out of the bottom. He's not supposed to be there, but he is because he's not a good coach. But my boy Gary O'Neill killing it. Liverpool 3, Southampton 1. Southampton are going down. Newsflash, Darwin Nunez is really good. He is now number 2 in the league in goals plus assists per 90, behind your friend Erling Haaland. Maybe that $80 million is worth something. But one thing that's interesting, narratives are formed in the first 5 seconds we see the guy. He goes off. He makes a couple mistakes. He's bad. He's been fantastic. Tottenham 4, Leeds 3. The crack cocaine boys of Leeds, as Chari has gotten off the drugs because he just watches Leeds. We now know why, because Leeds are crazy and they play crazy games. Then the almighty powerful Toon Army sitting in third place with the best defense in the league.
5 on the trot.
Defeat Chelsea 1-0, and they battered them. They pressed and choked out Chelsea like they were a bad MMA fighter. Amazing stuff. And then the great and powerful Arsenal, top of the league, 1 loss, defeat Wolves 0-2. My boy Odegaard carries the day. And then on Sunday, we had Villa defeat Brighton in another loss in the face for my team. Danny Ings puts in 2 as a good evening. Unai Emery, a friend you didn't get to say hello to, but he's back.
I didn't. And
then we had United defeat Fulham in a really good game. The one go down to Craven Cottage and get the win. But Fulham were good. And I'm going to say it, brand named Man United win in squeaky bum time by their boy Garnacho. Fun game.
We had a lot of squeaky bum time this week.
A lot. And they win 2-1. I was hoping that it had 1-1 all over it, and then United pull it out of their ass, as they're prone to do because they are United. And as we've learned from the Champions League, DNA carries.
Yeah.
DNA carries. But I'm going to go into the individual game breakdowns and go to my friends from Manchester City, talk about my beloved team. They were bad. They were bad. At home, normally when City have a bad game like this, it's usually because they put some weird lineup in. But this was City's best lineup with Gundogan, with Rodri and De Bruyne, Foden and Bernardo Silva and Haaland and all the crew. Everyone was there. A little bit weird to have John Stones at right back, but he's so good with the ball and was basically playing in central midfield. Sure, the defense was a little bit weird, but everything about City was disjointed. It seemed like every pass didn't come off. Haaland seemed to be falling down every other minute. There was a moment, there was a goal-mouth scramble somewhere in the beginning of the first half that maybe City could have had a penalty. It's around the 23rd minute. And then again in the 33rd, lots of shots and lots of scrambling. Yeah. But
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Manchester City. So I have not been watching a lot of the games outside of Spurs, wherever I could, right? But I have been tracking pretty much all of them on numerous apps.
Yeah.
Mainly because I like to do player shot props, as I've lost a lot of money on that so far. Anyway, 29 shots from Manchester City.
Yes.
Erling Haaland had 1.
Ineffective shooting.
Explain that. I don't understand how that's possible, because I didn't take Haaland because Haaland's bar is very high, right?
He only shoots if De Bruyne gets him the ball. There is no other person who gets him the ball. It is all directly from De Bruyne. And De Bruyne, what is forgotten about De Bruyne and what makes him great is he's like a closer. He takes all the shots and forgets. He does all the passes and forgets. You don't call out the passes that miss and no one ever gets to because of that fourth one that connects and you're like, holy shit, that ball. But there's a lot that he doesn't connect with, that he kicks right into the guy in front of him. Now, they're always in the final third. They're not causing breaks. He works back when he makes mistakes. But he's not a great midfielder because he's perfect. He's a great midfielder because he's not afraid. And he really put a lot of balls in. They just seem to just go through the box. So Haaland didn't get on the end of anything. And Brentford beat them up. They put 2 guys on him. And he was on his own. And there were just 2 defenders on him. And City never really adjusted. They never made any changes to try and pull someone out. Maybe they should have gone 2 up front. It was very much let's just try and get everything to Haaland. And City just never connected. There was just like an electrical disconnect from that magical brainwave that they were all connected to. Foden had a good goal. You thought City would kick on after Toney scored, but Brentford were just better. And I don't think any City fan anywhere would deny Brentford winning this game. This is the version of Brentford that you really love, that we get on those night games at home. But they were able to find a way, after losing to Gillingham in the League Cup with most of their guys, come back, be at City, and just put in a performance that is indicative of the good versions of Brentford, where they can play football, they will punch you in the face. They shithoused. It was gnarly. It wasn't, everything was disjointed. It was just one of these games. It was like, I don't know how City, these are the games that you see City play and you're like, if this happens in the Champions League, this is why they go out. Someone's sitting back. They just keep booting the ball, just keep doing the same thing over and over again, and it's not working. They don't find a way to not do that thing that they're doing.
So, and again, just looking through the stats, because I didn't get to see a lot of it, but this is not one of your typical Sonny beats City by himself games.
No,
where the shots are 20-2. They had 10 shots. They had a buck and a quarter expected goals, 129.
Because they were good chances. Toney missed open goals.
Anyway, what my
no
point
Diaz,
is,
Akanji was bad. They were just getting, City had that problem where when they get on the break, whatever chances they gave up were really good chances. This was 1920 John Stones and Fernandinho in the back version. You're like, holy shit, this is really bad. But it's really hard for the narrative of, I think one of the things I take away from it is, and I think that City will never get credit for this because it's just the way we are, how City play is so precise. The fact that it works at all is insane. And this is what it looks like when it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? It's so high precision. It has to be so perfect. They make it look easy. But when it's like a high-end sports car that if things go, it's like an F1 car, and it needs all these guys to make it work perfectly. But if it doesn't work, you just lose and the tire falls off. So it's oh, we fucking fucked it.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? How many times it's such a trope in sports, oh, it's not our day, the ball isn't bouncing, sort of that. If
it was more than that, though. It was more than that.
I know, but what I'm saying is, if you're a fan of any other team in this league than Manchester City, you feel like that 4 to 5 times a year. The 1, maybe 2 times that you feel that as a City fan, it speaks volumes.
It's always the same type of team, too. It's always the same type of performance by the opponent. A rough punch, we are not.
Well, because it's all timing. It's all timing related. Right.
Yeah.
So, and if you can get in their kitchen, if you can literally disrupt the timing of the set play, of the inch perfect passes, then it's not on the mark. Right. Then Haaland is 2 steps behind it.
And he kept his jumps were off. It's like everything was off. It was almost like a bizarro performance with nothing connected at all. And, it happens, but Arsenal are really good, and Arsenal have a 5-point lead. It's not insignificant.
No, it's
at
not.
all.
I mean, this is what would essentially be the Christmas break. No, and well, just about. It's close.
Yeah, it would be close. It's probably less games than the Christmas
It's a few
break.
less games, but I'm trying to look it up.
Yeah,
but...
I do want to go into Arsenal because they're the
Hold on one second.
No,
Are you concerned about Haaland?
No.
You're not?
No.
You should be.
Why?
Aston United FC
right.
lodged a bid for him.
Yes.
Manchester City.
Non-league team just want to borrow him during the break.
For 28 days during the World Cup because I guess they're not stopping. And that would worry me if I were a Manchester City supporter. He would have his head turned by Aston United. He may not come back. Yeah. Did you thought of that?
I am concerned. I am concerned if Molde called. He'd really
right.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not too concerned. I mean, it is nice, and it goes down to his teammates. It's a shame that we have a World Cup without Haaland and without Odegaard, and it really says how shitty are Norway that they have those two players and they didn't make the World Cup. But Wales did? You got to be better than Wales.
I will give Norway a pass only because the European qualifying is just a brutal stretch. Yeah. And they will probably in 26 because they're expanding on more teams. Yeah. And honestly, I'll riff real quick, but I think that if we are going to do that, just give all the spots to Europe. Stop pretending like Canada deserves a spot all of a sudden.
They're good.
Automatically, though. And then
probably not.
It goes for every team in CONCACAF. Nobody in CONCACAF deserves to be rubber stamped on. Not Canada, not Mexico, not the United States. No. So I just give Italy a spot. Give Norway a spot. Give Iceland a spot.
Yeah. I don't know. It is weird. It goes into like Super League-y kind of stuff. Do we want to make the World Cup Super League-y where there's
no? But what I'm saying
is the team should just be in it, and we shouldn't even have qualifiers.
No, I'm not saying the specific teams. I'm saying the federations, right? I'm saying if CONCACAF has 3 in a playoff team now, I don't have the 26 rules in front of me, but I would imagine they have at least 4. Fucking why? Why? What are we doing here, folks? Yeah. Just give 3 more European teams a chance. That's all. Yeah, that's how you make a better product.
I know, but the problem is that you get into, is that fair? Should we be doing that? Blah blah.
They're having a World Cup in November in Qatar. I don't want to fucking hear what FIFA thinks about fair. Okay, give it to the best teams, make the best product on the field, and let's just go watch why we're not watching our clubs play for 6 weeks. But Haaland and Odegaard are going to be sitting there with their fucking finger in their nose. It's good to be back. Let's talk about Arsenal.
Yeah, so Arsenal do go to Wolves, and the first half was a little bit choppy, but. I mean, we haven't talked about them probably since the North London derby, but they are grooved. They look like a version of City. So they play like City, but with joy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
A less robotic kind of like if City are a robotic, precise German car of destruction, this is like an artisanal version of City where it's just like, oh, we're going to sprinkle a little Brazilian Jesus and let him do what he wants. You want to run over there? You can go over there. Martin Odegaard, you always want to stay over there? You stay over there. But the thing about Arsenal right now is like they just get winners from different places. Like sometimes it's Saka. Sometimes it's a Martinelli game. Jesus is still just running his ass off and beating people in the face. But then it opens and Partey moving the ball. Xhaka has been fantastic. The whole thing is just working and the machine is running and you've got Saliba and Gabriel. Gabriel has a mistake in him, but it seems when he makes a mistake, it doesn't hurt them. Are they getting, do you feel like they have any lucky wins? Maybe one, but they've been good. And Odegaard was good in this. We talked about him. We both loved him, even though he's Arsenal. We just wanted those 10 goals. He's leading the team in goals with 6, considering that team is top of the league.
Really spreading it around.
Right. So it's all opened up and it's all by the work of all the players. Now, are they a key injury away from having a hard time? You bet your ass they are. They can't lose Saliba for a week.
No, they're not. They're not deep at all.
They can't lose Partey for a week. They have some cover for Odegaard with Vieira, maybe. They can't lose Jesus because he's kind of what makes the whole thing run. Because while he's not finishing and all City fans know what that looks like, we're just like, I could have told you he can't finish. But he runs his ass off and he gives everything to the team.
Well,
and
he creates the space.
He creates the space for other people, and he'll get there. He's taking his shots, whatever. Yeah. Martinelli is fantastic. They can't really lose anybody, but they are there. They are there. As Pep Guardiola likes to say, they are there. And the line, can Arsenal win the league? Of course they can fucking win the league. No team with this many points after this many games has ever not won the league except for Newcastle.
If there wasn't a Manchester City, they could win the league. But
yes, City. They may get the Liverpool treatment after this one. Be like,
yeah,
we fucking got 98 points and we didn't fucking win the league. What the fuck was that?
This is the third season we've been doing the show, I think, and because I can't count anymore. But each of those first two seasons, at times in the fall, you have been incredulous about the performances of City or whatever, and a bad game. The Leicester game where they gave up 5 goals and they didn't lose again until the next Olympics. So
yes, there is a 14-game winning streak in City.
Yes,
somewhere. They could just
absolutely is.
Beep, and just be gone.
right. Just like powering up the Death Star. Arsenal is Alderaan. Just boom. Past them.
Now, this is a luck of the draw, a luck of the Queen's death. Thank God the Queen died, the stupid bitch. City play
Arsenal. She would like
twice.
That joke, by the way. She would appreciate that joke.
Yes.
Which is why we did it.
City do have to play Arsenal twice. They do have a game that is scheduled April 24th against Arsenal. And then they have another one that they have to find one. And then the scary one is City play on the last game of the season at Brentford.
You know what?
I don't like that game.
I would feel good about that after losing to them because you just pissed off some. You kicked the hornet's nest for my money.
But at home, I have to go to Brentford and win the league.
I mean, yes, good, yes, good.
I don't want to go to Brentford to try and win the league
because you know what? If that performance happened at Brentford Community Stadium, you would be sitting there going, not you necessarily, but the narrative would be, oh, they play hard at home. It'll be fine. We're going to wax them in our place. But the fact that they did it in your house means you have to just wipe the blood off of your lip, get up, and go punch them right back when you see them. So
I just don't. I always worry about City. I shouldn't. Again, the gas is there.
You shouldn't.
The tank is there. But they could not. Arsenal could very easily win the league. It could happen very easily. Couple draws.
Yes, it could happen. I'm not going to say it can't physically happen. It could happen.
They are going to have to perform in our namesake really in squeaky bum time. Like, what do they look like down the stretch? That's where, if they have a 5-point lead with 10 games to go, can they handle it?
If they have a 5-point lead with 10 games to go, and 2 of them are against City, they don't have a 5-point lead. They don't have a 5-point lead. They are behind by 1 point. That's the realistic nature of this. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
And then there's January. Like what character gets added to the show?
Right. But they are an interesting case for a January transfer window because
they need it.
They don't necessarily. Is there a spot where you would say somebody's going to come in and make our first 11 better?
No, there isn't.
Right.
But
they have this familiar symptom that I'm very, very used to is that are you going to make the first team better or are you going to try to bring in a player who's not a prospect, who you're going to spend a comfortable amount on to challenge that first 11, whatever position that might be?
I've got one for Arsenal, and this is this nostalgia dreamy. Down the stretch, you need him. He's out there. He's available. Do they just bring back Cesc Fabregas to just be like cover for the midfield? Just to be there? To be like, we're going back to Wenger. He was one of our guys. He's still playing in some beautiful place like Morocco, Monaco, whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure he's really fit.
He's ready to go. He never was fit. Oh my God!
Well, that's a good point.
But they should do something like that. Get one of the old guys who was part of it. They've already got Arteta.
You know who you get? The guy who they thought they were getting 5 years ago? Go get Jamie Vardy. Go get Jamie Vardy as Jesus insurance.
By the way, Leicester would sell him.
I know they would. They should.
Yeah, they would just let Daka play.
Yeah.
But I think at
So
this point he's such a legend. Actually,
fine.
Jamie Vardy's a great shout. If I were Jamie Vardy, I would be like, yeah, I'll go.
Yeah. Yeah. He also said that in 2017.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
the one that popped into my head, I was like, Giroud. Giroud's available.
Yes.
That's a good
By
one.
the way,
Like a change of
I've been
pace kind of
following
guy.
Serie A a lot. He's been killing it for Milan.
Yeah, he's good.
Killing it.
He can't run, by the way. He just
No, he doesn't have to. He just stands there and is as just he makes his hair so stiff.
He looks amazing.
That he has, if you think about it, it's like a launching ramp for headers because he's got like the coif, like
yeah.
so yeah. It's he's impressive.
Yeah. So that's them. And then we move on to another team that probably needs a lot more transfers than whatever. I don't know if you want to talk about this, but Newcastle, they fucking kicked the shit out of Chelsea. Just a level of pressing that is not usual. Like Chelsea are broken right now. What's the line that people have been saying about United and Chelsea? They spent $250 million. Where is it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it. Cucurella's terrible. Aubameyang's terrible. Koulibaly's terrible. They're just bad. Mm-hmm. I can't. And it's everything was based on these wing backs, and they're gone. And so they have zero creativity. There's no Conte. They've got nothing. And I'm sad because I love Potter. I want Potter to do well. And Newcastle just fucking jujitsu chokehold them.
My cold take is that the team that will benefit the most from the World Cup is Chelsea.
For sure.
Because that will give Graham Potter 6 weeks. That will give him the preseason he didn't have.
But they got 16 guys going.
But they have a lot of guys going to Qatar.
But they'll come back. Now, some will be back earlier than others.
Right. And that's the misnomer, right? The idea that, the English players will go on a run. Christian Pulisic, guess what, pal? You're going to be back in Chelsea camp real fucking soon.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah. So
it's basically an international break. They'll be back.
Thiago Silva is going to be on a run, right?
Yeah.
Kai Havertz is going to be on a run. But Koulibaly, really? You'll be back. You'll be back, buddy. So I think that there's optimism there, and what it will do is it'll give the guys like I'm sure he's not playing before I say this. Yeah. For I'm a big fan of. That'll give him a chance to really.
Who's that? It faded.
Armando Broja, excuse me.
Oh, love him, yeah.
But so I think that there's a lot of players that are chomping at the bit for 4 minutes. You're seeing an opportunity now. You have almost twice as much of an opportunity because a lot of the star men are off. So you can have that relationship with the new gaffer and get that time in those games coming out of the break on Boxing Day and beyond. Yeah. And I think that they'll take off. I don't think that they're good. I just don't think they're this bad. Right.
Yeah, so, it's really weird. I mean, I
follow Brighton and Fulham and Brentford within 3 points of them in 6 months? No, they're not.
No. Fulham, maybe.
Fulham. Yeah, maybe Fulham. Yeah, okay. They're good in the sense that we said this in the preseason where every team in this league is good, maybe except for Southampton.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the table's really playing that out. I think we're starting to see. But I don't want to short shrift Newcastle. They are fantastic.
No, not at all.
They're so good. I don't think that Chelsea were not favored in this game.
No, they weren't. They were big dogs, like 220.
Yeah, away. Of course.
Yeah.
They're not as good.
Hey, one important note about Newcastle, we said this before we went on the air, they haven't really spent that much money yet. And the biggest splash they made is hurt Alexander Isak. He hasn't even been playing.
And they don't need him. Almiron
they could use him, but Almiron
went nuclear.
To
me, Isak was going to replace Almiron. He was the guy who was going to.
I thought he would play with them, but yeah, either way, right?
Or St. Maximin is not even there. He's not even playing.
Yeah.
And they're just battering teams because Guimaraes and Joe Linton and Willock, they just run people down like nuclear missiles. You cannot get on the ball. And when Chelsea were trying to play out, this is a team that Potter, we saw it with Brighton, he wants to play out. When they pass the ball back, they were like, oh, there was no like passive like half current. The whole team just ran forward and pushed Chelsea. We're like, what the fuck is this machine of red and of black and white stripes that are coming to destroy me?
Yeah.
They choked them.
And a lot has to be said because again, they Eddie Howe is, for my money, he's got as many losses as Arsenal does.
Coach of the year. Sure.
I mean, look, that I don't like it, but if you're calling it right now, it's Mikel Arteta. I understand. That's fine.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
but I mean, Eddie Howe's right there. Right?
Listen, they are 2 points behind City.
I know.
That's Newcastle.
Five wins on the bounce. So,
I mean, they have a game in hand, sure, but I really like what they're doing. I listened to the High Performance podcast. They had Eddie Howe on, and it's by a presenter of ITV, this Humphreys guy who's a Norwich fan. And they did like a whole psychological thing about Howe, and he's very well spoken and honest, and it was really good just to hear like a guy going through it. Like, hey, when I got sacked by Bournemouth, I was depressed. I was done. I didn't know what to do. And how he sort of picked himself up, went to see other coaches, put things back together. And, one of the things I think about, and we'll go on to some other games after this, is just that dinosaur coach, that old school coach, they are done. Moyes, Dyche.
Oh, yeah.
There's no room for it. You can't play like that anymore. Teams already know how to destroy you. You're done. You can't. All these young coaches, De Zerbi, Arteta, they all come from the Pep tree or whatever, especially that 2011 team. The German influence coaches of the pressing and the running and all that stuff from Rangnick, even though no one wants to admit it, onto Klopp. You can't be a dinosaur sitting back. That's what's driving you guys nuts with Conte. It's like, what fucking century football are you playing?
Yeah.
Why are they waiting to lose?
And it was the same thing as Mourinho. But the thing is that when you make when you have that type of strategy, it's not because you're sitting there playing like a coiled snake. You have the quality to go and beat the other team. The weird thing about Spurs, and as I guess we can kind of segue into Spurs and Leeds, it's been true against Sporting in the Champions League. It's been true against Marseille in the Champions League. It's been true against Bournemouth. These are not teams that strike fear in the heart of anybody.
But Spurs play like it's Barcelona going against them.
Right. And they defend poorly. And they really don't get out of – but again, it's because there's that nakedness in the midfield. You have so much of around the wings, and Perisic, for my money, has been doing a great job. Emerson Royal can't spell the word cross. He's remarkably bad.
Well, the other thing that he does is he's disjointed from his defending partner. He'll go run out there and expose.
And that's what I was saying.
And so now, left center back.
You've got players sort of floating. You've got Højbjerg and Bentancur, or if Basuma gets to play. But they're in a sea of 4 to 5 defending opposing players. You've got the wing backs completely lost at sea. Yeah. And then the ball gets turned over and it's 6-on-2.
Yeah.
Who's somehow? I've been watching this sport realistically for about 10, 12 years now. I don't know shit compared to Antonio Conte, but how the fuck is it that I can watch 4 games in a row and go, yeah, there's a problem right there, idiot. Like, I don't understand. Like I'm not saying I should be somebody's coach, but like, it's the stubbornness and it's the walking into a brick wall that really frustrates me. And by the way, this is not to say that like this is against clubs who are just having the 2 blocks of 4 sitting deep. That has happened to an extent, especially when teams have had leads against Tottenham. But it's not. It's just teams playing a little bit conservative off the ball. As soon as they do, like you were saying about Newcastle, they all go. They're spring loaded. So knowing that, you've got whatever defenders you have, and Romero's been out, so none of them are any good. And they're basically all on the back foot as they get this wave.
And who did Jed Spence kill?
Who did Jed Spence? Who did Matt Doherty fuck? Like what?
Every time he plays, he's good.
Look, I mean, yeah, I know.
By the way, but let's give credit to Leeds. Leeds were really, really good. By the way, awesome. It was a bad opponent for Spurs. Like they came after them. The problem for Leeds is like their defenders.
What a performance!
Their defenders are terrible. Like,
Well, yes,
Struijk,
but
Struijk and
Rodrigo, my goodness,
Cooper,
and Somerville. I'm sorry.
that dude's awesome.
Did they pick you off the street? Like,
I don't know where he
wow,
came from.
he was unbelievable. But that's the kind
And-
of thing. Like, you always used to say in like the early 2000s, like if the Yankees have never heard of a pitcher, he's thrown a 2-hit shutout, and what do you know, right? But that's what it felt like. Crescencio Somerville. I'm like, are you a rapper in your spare time? Like, what is going on here?
He's awesome, dude. Well,
He was great.
Listen, Robbie Musto on the Two Robbies podcast, he said Tyler Adams is a Champions League 6, and that the issue for Leeds is that Cooper and Koch are shit, and that's really the
I
issue.
agree.
And they just don't have the defenders to defend. But going forward, is there a more fun team than Leeds? You know, they just
when we have
come after
Sonny,
you.
but no, like, but for their weight class, absolutely not, right? Like they're unbelievable, and they're clinical. Like I mentioned, Rodrigo. Holy shit, the goals he took were classy, unbelievable finishes, and thank God we have that high end talent to be able to take us from the depths of shit.
Yeah, but I do wonder for Leeds. I do wonder, you know, the way I don't think it's clear the relegation zone. I think there's a lot of good coaches that are down there. The only one now I'm really worried for is Southampton, because I don't know anything about this guy who took the job, Jones, for Luton. He was the coach at Luton. He took over Hasenhüttl, but Leeds will be in a fight, but they will not. They will. They have so Leeds will be in a fight. They also have a firing in them because American coaches, they'll just fire. If Marsh loses 4 in a row, they'll fire him.
Yeah,
it'll just happen. Like if they get too far down the hole, they'll get into trouble. So Crescencio is Dutch, and he's been on Leeds books since he was 18. So they got him from Nowheresville, from Odo Den Haag, not Ten Hag, and he's been, he won the league with the Leeds under 23s. So he's just a guy they've had, and they just were like, hey, maybe he should play. But I mean, this Spurs game was incredible, right? You had Leeds go up from Crescencio early, then Kane tied up, Rodrigo at the break, then you have what the hell? I got a freaking thing here. Ben Davies scores out of a worldie out of nowhere. It took a deflection, which is fine. Then for some reason,
it was frantic, and it was going in one way or another. The fact that that's how it did was kind of surprising. But
then Rodrigo gets another goal. Then the 2 goals come from Betancourt twice, which is just like he's the hero we didn't know we need. He's the king who was promised. He's just everywhere, saving fucking Spurs ass every day. Yeah. He's going to the World Cup, right? He's playing in the mid. He's got to be
Uruguay
for Uruguay.
Yeah.
Oh, with Fede Valverde. Oof.
Oh yeah,
they might be
Uruguay
good.
And Nunez. Uruguay is a team to watch. Very excited for them.
Are they still playing Sebastian Coates in the defense? Like, who's playing there? But a team that has the fighting spirit, Uruguay. We'll get into the World Cup. Maybe we can talk a little bit as we're sprinkling through, but we're not going to do the whole World Cup here. But I think we can probably bundle.
We will. We'll do it on the next show.
Bundle Liverpool and Man United. Liverpool really just getting their narrative right. Nunez starting to fire. They're not really having a hard time with Southampton. They were still open. I think Manny, who's in the WhatsApp group, is still fearing for life and death every time he watches Liverpool. Liverpool are still open. They're still giving up chances. I don't think defensively the issue is, but what they've come around on is they've figured out their scoring part, right? Like they've got that part down. They're like, okay, we figured out how to get Nunez and Salah to work together by bringing them closer together. They don't have Salah way out in the middle of nowhere. They've kind of moved everything more central. So they do have that part going well. Maybe the fullbacks are getting back together. Robertson, I think, always makes a difference. So they're in good shape, especially at home. They're never going to lose. I think the funny thing is Nunez is really fucking good. And the idea that he's not is just some lazy narrative because he got a red card in his second game.
Well, look, he's had to carry them, right? And as much as Salah is still there, Diaz has been hurt and Jota has been hurt. So, it's been the Diaz and the Nunez and Salah show, right?
Well, Firmino also has six,
Firmino
7 goals.
has been around, yeah, right. But he's in that. Nunez is the new Mane in a sense that he's playing a different style. He's more up front, but he's giving them that triumvirate again, right? Where you expected Diaz to be almost a like for like, but he's been on the shelf. And Jota, right? Like you basically replaced Mane with two Manes or would be types, right? But yeah, I mean, it's been interesting to see them kind of shift to a more traditional number 9 when Salah was playing in that role, right?
He doesn't want to do that.
No.
Yeah, he does not want to do that. And I think, Liverpool still have problem with depth. They still have to run Milner out there, and they still have to run fucking Trent Alexander. It's not Trent Alexander-Arnold. They still have to run fucking Oxlade-Chamberlain out there. I mean, they're still just missing players. There's still a handful of midfielders down. They probably need 2, maybe 3 midfielders to get that whole thing going. But I think the rumors of their demise will diminish. I think they'll get there. The issue is that they've given themselves such a hole that the top 4, they may get there because United, Chelsea, and Tottenham are sputtering, and they may just get there accidentally. But you got a 7-point lead on them, right? With a game in hand, Tottenham in 4th. I think you're clearly better than United. United do get the win.
Yeah, I don't look at United as a real threat. What I would say is, how you have to look at it like this. Do I think Manchester City, and this is not necessarily fair because there's a Manchester City in the conversation, but do I think City can catch Arsenal with 5 points clear? Yes. Yeah. Does that mean that I think that Liverpool can catch Tottenham with 7 in a game in hand? So realistically, potentially 5 or 4. Yes, I do. I'm not running from that. Right now, if Spurs go out in January and they get a quality, maybe 2, maybe 6 quality center backs, then I'm changing my tune completely. However, until that day, I still like what I see when I have Liverpool on the field versus Spurs. Until they decide to change the strategy or something. I don't know. But I just think that there's more faith that you've got to have more faith. If you said, who's more likely to finish in the top 4 today, Spurs or Liverpool, I'd say Liverpool still.
Yeah, because they're on the front foot. They have the pedigree. They can reel off 10 in a row if they get their shit together. We don't know what damage the World Cup will do to any players. We know last year, AFCON killed Salah
and Chelsea.
Yeah, so we never know.
So the Kepa started playing again. That's how bad Mendy was. But yeah, I think
he's better. He will play once he gets back.
It's the great unknown, right? Yeah. So, like you said, who's it? Chelsea has like 16 players or something like that going. Yeah. Tottenham
I do want to give more time to United. I've watched them. They actually are good. Like, they're not difficult to watch. You kind of see what they're going to do. Eriksen has been, I know he's your guy. It kills you. He's been so good. He's been their best player. Like, without him, none of it works. Casemiro has made a difference. And then Lisandro Martinez, the butcher of Argentina, the butcher of Old Trafford, he's just a fucking killer. He's just a defender. Like, if to be as good as he is at the size that he is means he has to be fantastic. He's like, the small dick guy at eating pussy. He's just got to do it right because he has to, right?
I wasn't ready for that one. You know what, though? That's exactly what he looks like.
Yes! Yeah, so he's there. He's putting the extra effort in, because he has to. So he's in, and he just kicks ass. Like, if he was on Spurs, he'd be your favorite player immediately.
It would be him and Romero. Could you imagine?
Oh my God, there'd be someone sent off every week.
So many stabbings.
Is that who's their central defense for Argentina?
I think so.
In the World Cup?
I don't know about Romero's health, but yes.
That's scary. Those guys are murderers. I don't think Otamendi can't possibly be paying for that team. I don't know.
Oh, and they're playing Poland, so we have the Nazi extradition
Oh, good.
against Poland. There you go. He's
Wow.
back for 44 minutes, and we've checked off the World War II references,
Oh
folks.
man, that's
He
Poland.
didn't
Oh,
miss a beat.
it's in the blood. That's some danger there. I don't know. There's things to say that I don't know what they are, but I like Lissandro Martinez. I hope that the fact that Harry Maguire made the English team goes to show you how bad Gareth Southgate is as a coach. He should never have been anywhere near it. I don't care how much loyalty you have. Just be like, no, you're not coming. You suck. Bye. Get out.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, United were good, and then they have that. They've got that thing where they play a young player and he gets the win, and I think that builds narrative. It sort of reinforces what team belief can happen, and I think Ten Hag has done a good job with that. We can sort of go into the Ronaldo thing where
I was gonna say I don't think that Ronaldo's making a dent, and
No.
I said this before we jumped on. Cristiano Ronaldo is Donald Trump, right? He's just
a narcissistic, selfish lunatic who's aggrieved about everything.
Does that make Fernandez DeSantis, I guess? But like, yes. he's a narcissist. He's a loudmouth. He gets in the way where he's not welcome. Hello, midterm election. And, it's just a lot of these things where the machine keeps moving, makes him even more mad. He said these things, explosive comments from a professional footballer who's on a team after the team won a dramatic game.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why are you doing this, Donald? Why are you attacking Ron DeSantis after he won by 20 points? What are you doing?
But the thing is, Ronaldo had already done it. They had a great win, and he walked off the field. Yes. That was during a great win.
Mm-hmm.
So that's twice he's done it. And to kill Ten Hag after Ten Hag brings him back in, is like, hey, don't be a dick. You're going to get a 1-game suspension. Come back in. He put the captain's armband on him against Aston Villa. And they lost. So it's very calculated. Ten Hag has been like, okay, here's the rope. Go do your thing.
Yep.
And then he can go, we suck when you play. So, it's just not. The thing is that United really don't have a good strike force. The 17-goal Rashford Martial season, that's 3-4 years ago already.
Yeah.
But Martial is back. They are their best with Martial, which is interesting. And Sancho is just gone. That's $100 million just gone.
I mean, it's not the first time and it's not the last time they did that. Remember Alexis Sanchez? Remember the piano when the entry video with Alexis
By the way,
Sanchez?
That's twice that City got used and then fucked United. Because Sanchez was going to come to City.
Oh, wow.
So
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was a whole... Everyone's going to come to City, and then they go to the United player and be like, he's going to go to City. And they're like, no, he can't go to City. Right? So it's all like Tevez stuff. It's all water under the bridge. Meanwhile, City have all their transfers planned out 2 years in advance.
Yeah.
We're not just going to grab some guy.
Yeah. Oh, all right. We're not going to get Kane. Oh, guess who we're going to get?
This is the price. Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll pay half the money and get Erling Haaland.
It's so funny to think about that. They wouldn't have gotten him if they got Kane.
I know.
He'd be on United, Real Madrid,
Haaland, Madrid for sure. Yeah. Not close.
Anyway, especially after the fuck up with Mbappe. So we've got Ronaldo. He's basically thrown the entire Man United organization under the bus. Says nothing has changed at United since Ferguson left. By the way, mind you, he wasn't there since 2009, but that's not important. Literally the same pool, the same chefs, the same everything.
Yeah, the weird like details where you're like, huh, he's probably right about that.
That's definitely true.
It doesn't make him not a dickhead.
No, it doesn't.
But and it's weird, right? It's he's right until he makes himself wrong. Like all of that is true. He's like, dude, they haven't changed anything. I don't understand, or I completely understand how they haven't really won anything in that span. And then torches everybody around him. It's like, oh, well, you can't. You had us. We were.
The fans will always love me. No, they won't.
No,
they Ten Hag has done a good job of managing this. I think the thing that's sort of underrated is like Ajax is a small club relative to the super clubs, but Ajax is a tough club to manage in Amsterdam. Like, it has as much media and as much pressure as like, oh, you won, but we didn't play right. Like, they have all this
Yeah.
weird Cruyff wouldn't have done that type shit. We're like, will you stop with the Cruyff? I mean, enough. Or like, why are you not playing 4-3-3? That's the Dutch way. They have all this like ideological philosophy, the same kind of stuff that United has. But if you look at Old Trafford, I've seen pictures, it's falling apart.
Right.
Like, it's
Oh, yeah.
literally a mess. So there's that, and there's that going in. And I think, he's basically said, I want to leave. I want to get cut. The question, I guess, is where does he go? Who would want him?
Well, Bowley is the one who's been rumored, but like, who has the combination of patience and money? Well, for Chelsea, it only makes sense right now because they're in 8th place. But that's not good for Potter. But then again, neither is 30 million
would
on
be
Aubameyang.
Ronaldo at Chelsea would destroy. Potter would be fucked because he's not.
Well, good. Then he can come to Tottenham.
Yeah, if he's gonna blast Ten Hag, who literally has a better resume than Potter, then what's he gonna say about Potter? He has never won anything. I'm like, yeah, no shit. That's why he's there. So I don't think that'll happen. But I do want to sort of go on to some of the other friends in the league, other managers who maybe they should have got the Chelsea job at one point. Our friend Mr. Rodgers turning Leicester around. It's a big deal. I think there's one player that I really want to call out for that team aside from Maddison, but it's that defenseman what the fuck's his name? About face on the defense.
About face.
He totally changed that team. A random defender completely changes the culture of the defense. He's like a poor man, good version of David Luiz. He's got the big hair, and he's just changed the team. And their goalkeeper, who I thought was literally the worst goalkeeper I'd ever seen, is now going to go into the World Cup. Danny Ward, he's probably going to play for Wales and get the number 1 job. And he's turned it around. They've had a couple good goals from Tielemans and James Maddison just carry the team. And your boy, I know your favorite, Harvey Barnes, and his tight chin.
Yeah, shoot first, ask questions later, Harvey.
And they've stopped playing Ndidi and actually gone to Soumare. That's changed a little bit of the defense. My friend Mr. Iheanacho, who I thought was going to change the team, never did, and his 9.5. He just doesn't have that juice anymore.
He has spurts. He's a player who's hot and cold. Yeah.
They'll need him when they need him.
Yeah, right. He's like a Viagra. You don't use him a lot.
Any other teams that you've kept an eye on that are sort of floating? I'd be remiss if I didn't give Forest a little love. My friend, Mr. Cooper, he's got the 25 players. He's got to deal with it, and he welcomes this break.
Yeah,
and figure out who the fuck is on his team, and he's gotten the team out of the bottom 3. So, I mean, it is crazy how
they're in 18th, but they're right there, right? But I mean, I'm rooting for Everton to go down. I feel bad about that, but I'm just tired of like the they were trying to talk shit about Richarlison not playing in Champions League anymore. I saw that. I was like, have fun in the relegation race, pricks. Again,
they'll fire Lampard before they go down.
They will fire Lampard, and it hopefully will save their season because I do want to see them get up. But like, if Lampard were to take them down, that would really hit different. I would enjoy that. The team I've actually seen the most of, or the outside of the headliners, I saw them play yet another nervy, brutally stressful game with Spurs is Bournemouth.
They're good, man.
And it's prescient because in a week's time, the United States of America is going to be taking on Wales, and everybody's going to be talking about Daniel James, and everybody's going to be talking about Gareth Bale. Kiefer Moore is going to score against the Americans. He is going to be a problem because he's 17 feet tall, I watched him, and again, we've profiled this a lot on this show. Not that Spurs backline is anything to write home about, or it's anything to set a marker in the sand by, but it's still better than the United States backline. Tim Ream is going to be playing for the United States. Okay. So he is going to use and abuse anybody and everybody on the US backline.
Tim Ream is
good.
He's going to get I used to hate him, but now I'm in.
Fine, but I mean, Gareth Bale is going to whip a cross in, and Kiefer Moore is going to get onto it, like he just is. And I think this is gonna, not gonna shock anybody based if you've heard the rest of the show, but for next time, I'm not feeling good about the U.S. going into that first game.
No.
I think anybody realistically is going to say they're going to lose to England. Okay. You can get out of the group with a loss. The trouble that they have is they play Iran last in what will likely be a meaningless game. I don't see them getting a win against Wales. I could see a draw. And then they get boat raced by England. They're going to have to beat Iran by 400 and hope that England does the same to Wales, which they probably won't.
Well, the only thing that the U.S. can hope for is that England has been bad for a year, effectively.
Yeah, that's true.
And that Southgate is a moron, because he is.
Right.
Because he's lucky in a weird way that Reece James and some of the wingbacks are hurt, is that he's going to have to play Alexander-Arnold, which means that there will be really good service from the wing. But somehow he won't play him. He'll play Trippier. So he's going to play 5 defenders. He's going to play Maguire, Stones, Walker, Trippier, and Luke Shaw with 2 holding midfielders. With Declan Rice.
Phillips and Declan Rice.
Well, I don't even know if Phillips will play. But Declan Rice is effectively a center back who became a midfielder. So his instinct is center back. And he can't pass the ball forward. What Declan Rice is good at is winning balls and carrying it. He can't ping it. That's why he likes him to have Phillips next to him. Because Phillips will just fire one across to Sterling or fire one to
or to the wing backs that are going up the field.
Right. But they are too defensive. And they just don't create anything. They're awful. And he doesn't make changes. Not only that, Sterling is out of form. He's going to play him every game.
Yes, he is.
Sterling's bad right now. And
do you think Foden gets in?
What?
Do you think Foden starts? Because he looks like he's in the best.
Foden.
I say he's in the best form of his career. So
yeah. Well, we'll see. You never know, right? It's such a short tournament. You just need shitty results. You don't even have. It's not even about results. It's not even about form. It's about results. Who cares?
Right.
If you get shitty goals and that you win, fine. But they should have beat Italy. We knew Italy was bad, and Italy are not even in the World Cup, and England lost to them.
Yep. On home turf.
I just went on a whole random.
On home turf.
At home, exactly. With riots.
I'm excited. I'm excited for it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not excited for the US at all.
No, I don't. I have no connection to the team.
No, it's not. Well, not only that, I don't really feel that much anymore either. But because I used to be very, very into it, but I just it's a tough group, to be fair. But it's the World Cup, and you should be able to get past Wales in the basically that first game is going to decide your fate in the group. Realistically saying,
but let's be fair. Wales is not even a country.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? They're only in the world. They only are able to play because of the negotiation in the 50s to get England into FIFA, which is like, we'll go in it, but Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland have to have our own seats so that we have a little block that we can vote as. They shouldn't be in it. They should be part of Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they also haven't been in a World Cup since the 50s, since the U.S. beat England. So if you can't beat that team, and you're the U.S.,
you don't deserve to be there.
You don't deserve to be there. But I do have one other person that I want to talk about, just Bournemouth-wise. We talked about the striker, but Philip Billing is just a man amongst boys. He's a 6'7" midfielder. I think he's gigantic. So between Kiefer Moore and Billing, Bournemouth have something going. But I still think they'll go down. I still think it'll end up being Southampton and Bournemouth and Wolves. That could be the 3.
Yeah.
Unless Wolves get some striker from somewhere. Anyway, you're fading. It's late. I'm going to take us home.
All right, let's get out of here. Good to be
All right.
back.
That was the Squeaky Bum Time podcast with Mike Salerno, thank God, and Laurent Cortines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Never miss an episode. We are members of FanHub. Thank you to all our English fans who stick with us and don't hate us as much as we hate them.